Hey guys, this is Keaton. I'm on the way to go pick up a jet ski right now, so I had some time on my hands to make this video. So I'm going to start out by telling you about what I have done to my truck and kind of like the things that were a struggle doing. I did it all, me and my dad did it all together. And so I'm going to start out with telling you like the parts I bought and the brand. So I bought a 5-inch straight pipe from AFE. I bought an up pipe and a down pipe from PPE. PPE. They're really good quality pipes. And then I bought my tuner from PPEI. The Corey Willis tunes. I also got the 5-position switch, but I never installed it. So I'm planning on in the future. I just want to make sure all the tunes and everything works good before I ran the wires for that. What else did I buy? The EGR Delete kit was from PPEI. The CP3 was a Sportsman Exergy, or however you say it. That was from Alligator Performance Diesel, or Diesel Performance. What else have I done? I just bought like a little resonator delete. It doesn't really do anything. It goes on. It takes the little thing off the top of the engine that says Duramax, and it's supposed to reduce on intake noise, but it just makes the turbo spool a little bit louder. It's not even really noticeable. I wouldn't really even count that. I think that was just the eBay part. So I'm gonna go into like what I did first. So I started out by doing the EGR delete, and I did that at about 110,000 miles, and that all went smoothly. The hardest part with that was on the up pipe, getting off there's 3 bolts on the turbo that mount to the back of the turbo on the up pipe. It's a Y pipe. Half the pipe goes to the EGR, half of it feeds the turbo, and the new up pipe goes right from the exhaust manifold right to the back of the turbo. So the hardest part is getting up there and getting those bolts free. So I started out by soaking them for probably about 2 weeks every day. It sounds a little excessive, but I didn't break them. And when I ended up taking them out, I even heat cycled it. So I would spray them at night, and I would drive in the morning, and it would kind of smell like PB Blaster. The penetration oil I used was PB Blaster, and it would smell pretty bad in the truck because it would be burning it off the turbo basically. But when I went to go do the delete and I was taking those bolts off, I didn't snap them. But if you snap them, you have to take off the bolts that go from the other side up to both sides of the engine feed to the turbo, but only one side has the Y bridge. And so after I took off that Y bridge, I put on the new up pipe, and then you also have to take off the down pipe before you do the up pipe. So the down pipe wasn't too hard. The hardest part with that was the heat shield, getting that off. And you have to bend it because it doesn't really come out without bending it. But after you bend it, it comes out pretty easy. And I guess I kind of forgot, you have to take off the exhaust. So the steps are, first you take off the exhaust. The hardest part with taking off the exhaust is getting it around the transmission member, the thing that holds the transmission. You have to unbolt that and put a piece of wood under it and hold up the transmission while you take that member off. And then after you unbolt the exhaust up by the downpipe, you have to pull the exhaust right by the transmission. And that was a little bit of a challenge, but not too bad. Probably one of the easier challenges. And then after you get that out, you have to take the downpipe out. You have to bend the heat shield on the downpipe. There's 3 bolts on the heat shield. Take those out. Take the heat shield out first. Make sure you can use like some kind of rope. There's like a hole where the 9th injector goes in the downpipe. You can put the rope through that hole, tie it, so you can pull on that rope to pull the heat shield out. You can't just grab the heat shield because it's pretty sharp. It's like tin metal. It'll cut your hand. So after you pull that heat shield out, then you unbolt the downpipe at the back of the turbo. It's like a band clamp. Undo that, pop that out, then you should be good to go on your downpipe. And then obviously you have to do the uppipe and those bolts. After you get those uppipe bolts out, the uppipe comes out pretty easy, and then you move into taking the EGR crap off. You can probably find some videos on that. Kind of hard to explain. There's a lot of clips, connectors, and all that good stuff, but that's not too hard. And then putting it all back together is not too bad because the straight pipe is pretty light, super light, the piping is, and isn't too hard. So you just basically stick your up pipe in first, then you put your down pipe in, and then you put your exhaust in, and then basically your EGR bleed's done because you don't have to put any of the EGR crap back on. It's already all good to go. And after I did all that, I drove it for probably about 4,000 miles. I wanted to make sure I had no problems with that before I moved into doing the CP3 conversion. Also, I had to get a little bit more money because all this crap is pretty expensive. The tuner was about $1,500. The exhaust was $500. The EGR delete kit was $300. The up pipe was $150. The down pipe was $150. So you can add up all that. That's pretty expensive. You can get a cheaper tuner, but I wouldn't recommend that because it could mess up your truck. I'd just rather have one of the best. PPEI is probably one of the best tunings for a Chevy you can get. I don't know about the other brands, but definitely for a Chevy I would stick with one of the known brands. I think there's a couple good brands. Let's see. But Corey Willis, he's the owner of PPEI, and I would stick with that if I had to do it over again. I love it. And the EasyLink tuner makes it so easy to tune. All your tunes are on your phone. You just hit a button, flash your truck, and boom, you're done. There's no computer, there's no cords. It's real easy, real easy. So after I did all that, I had no problems. Like, everything worked flawless. Truck got better fuel economy. It went from 15 miles a gallon to 20 miles a gallon. It had way better throttle responsiveness. Like, there wasn't as much turbo lag. There wasn't as much, there wasn't really that much lag. And keep in mind, I had it on the stock horsepower because I was afraid of that. I had like 110,000 miles. I was afraid of the CP4 exploding, so I didn't do any tunes on it. I left it completely stock power. And then I think at that point I wasn't even sure if I was gonna do the CP3. I was like, maybe I'll do a lift pump, but then I was like, I got so much money in this truck, I'm gonna go ahead and do the CP3. And the CP3 was about $1,800, and the kit, the brand of the CP3 I used was a Sportsman Exergy, I think it's pronounced. And then the kit was it was made by Screamin' Diesel Performance. The pump was, I think, $1,200, and the kit was $500. But I bought it in a package on Alligator Performance Diesel. And then after I got that kit, it didn't take too long. I went ahead and did the CP3. You do have to take some of the stuff back off, like your S pipe, I think is what it's called. It goes from like the air filter. You have to take off you have to backtrack. If you do it all at once, you save a little bit of time, maybe an hour. But I wanted to make sure I had no problems with my EGR delete when I went into doing the CP3 because I wanted to know where the problem was coming from. If I had a problem with the EGR delete, I wanted to fix that first. And if I had a problem with the injection pump, I wanted to fix that. So hang on, let me check my maps.